was the report done by Newsweek, I forget the title.
Okay,
It has like
okay.
10 of these.
It's
All right.
6:30, so I'm gonna go ahead.
Yep, go ahead. Bar, Mike Scout.
It is 6:30 PM. Welcome to the September 9th, 2024 meeting of the Merrimack Conservation Commission. I've got to check, are there any, do we have to place in any voting members tonight?
We don't have anybody to replace it with.
Andrew's a permanent member, right?
Yes.
So, and Steve, you're a alternate?
Oh, that's-
Okay, so Steve, can you stand in for Andrew?
Yes, I will.
Okay. First order of business tonight, request from resident Andre Roy to erect a hunting stand and install game cameras on a parcel of land located in the Greater Woods property. Are you Andre Roy? Go up, check on your, you can sit up here and check on your mic. Press the push button and it should light up green.
Yes, I'm Andre Roy.
Okay, so it was mentioned in the email to everyone, but just for clarification, so there are new fishing game laws, so that's why we're getting an uptick in hunters requesting permission this year.
Every year.
Yes, yes, and it turns out it's gonna have to be every year too. So basically, the fishing game laws, as was explained by, I lost his name, but the hunter who visited us last time.
Steve Pollock.
Steve, yes. Fish and Game has changed its laws, and that means they now require written permission from landowners every year, to be renewed every year, to allow tree stands and game cameras on their property. So, and it has to be written permission. Let's see if there's anything I'm missing here. Right, so I guess, well, I guess the question is, do you have any, is this sort of like something, do you have like plans like which properties you're gonna be hunting on, or is this more just a blanket thing, just want the,
Can I just stop you for a
Yeah.
second? For the record, can I get your address?
oh, yeah, sorry.
16 Belmont Drive,
Belmont
Merrimack.
Drive, okay. Thank you.
So is this specifically to Greater Woods or Horse Hill?
Greater
Nature
Woods,
Preserve?
yes.
Okay. And, so, basically,
Doesn't it specify, it specifies an exact lot?
yeah, and was it,
That's what I was kind of surprised. Did you specify a lot?
That's the lot will be hunting on.
Yeah, that
yes.
one lot.
okay.
Yeah, for,
Okay.
unless I have to come back again for another lot, but.
Uh, So,
So it's the Wilson Hill Road,
mhm, yep.
Sir, have you hunted on that property before?
last
Are you
30
familiar?
years.
Okay.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Believe me, they throw us a little loophole also by doing these new laws.
We didn't see it coming ourselves.
Yeah,
Hmm.
nobody did.
Yeah, so I mean, the standard is really that, provided that, you know, hunting is done safely, and it's on the deed, so hunting is already allowed. So we usually do not have anything against, hunting, no reason to deny permission. Especially, I mean, the fact that you're coming here kind of implies that you're responsible, you know, right?
Right.
So.
Which I'm surprised I'm the only one besides Steve that came in.
I know last year someone did come, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of hunters.
So last year, that law was in effect, and
That's
this year
true,
it
yeah.
is, so
Um,
there should be a line outside, I don't know.
But it's only for tree stands though, right?
Tree stand and cameras.
Tree stands can't, so.
So
if
we have
if
to
you're
put a
just-
little tag on it.
Right, but if you're just gonna walk the property.
Then you don't
no,
need a
we-
permission.
We don't need permission, because
No.
it's already allowed on our property.
Now, actually, because at the end of the email, Stephanie adds in that the law states, a game camera placed on state-owned or managed lands or on municipally owned property shall be exempt from requiring landowner permission.
That's for the cameras.
That's for the cameras, just the cameras. I do know that if you do have a camera that takes video, it does have to be muted. It can't be recording sound while it's on public property.
Yeah.
As
And there's
for-
already a law that we have to take the tree stands out at the end of the season.
Yep.
So it's not like we leave them there to rot, you know, or in danger for other kids.
I think that's the important distinction, that's, the community development's email didn't draw that distinction, but the this year's Hunter's Digest does, there's two types of tree stands. If you want to erect a permanent tree stand or duck blind, same thing. If it's permanent, anything that, you know, if you're driving nails into a tree and with the intent of leaving it up, beyond those two windows that are outlined, you probably remember, is it September 1st to December 1st?
Yeah.
And then there's a short one in the spring. A permanent one does require landowner permission, even if it's on state land or municipally managed land. A temporary tree stand, as long as it goes up and comes down in those prescribed windows, wouldn't require the landowner permission. Obviously, it's gotta meet the other requirements, it's gotta have your name on it, your
Yeah.
phone number, and it's gotta be taken down before December 31st.
But it's-
did-
it needs, I think they still need to have the landowners okay to do it.
Do they?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
how I read that, that's how I read that law there. Cause that was the whole issue we found was, we got a couple tree stands up there in Greater Woods now that are just abandoned.
Oh, see, that's,
Yeah. And
therein
so-
lies the problem. I did read the way I read it in here. It also elaborated a little bit differently on the cameras.
Yeah,
And I thought the indication where cameras were different, where you do need the landowner permission. Same requirements, gotta have a phone number, gotta have your name. Can't be used for active hunting. I mean, there are, I'm sure you know, there are other requirements with that. But what the Fish and Game, it said for public lands, it's okay to give it verbal or written permission. And you can also post something in a kiosk. It recommended at a kiosk, a gate, a trailhead. It's, if you simply make, if we were to make that disclaimer, use of game cameras is acceptable, provided you follow Fish and Game rules or.
It's so new that we had an event at the Fishing Game, Merrimack Fishing Game Club,
yeah.
and we had 12 New Hampshire officers there, and we asked them during their break, what's with this? And-
12
You got
answers?
12 answers?
And we had all different answers, you know, like, you guys posted this, you know, you guys came out with these rules.
Was Officer McFadden there?
Yes.
He was. What was his take on this? Do you remember?
First of all, our area don't even have a CO.
Isn't he our CO?
He went,
No.
he's with Milford now, Milford
Yes.
County, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah. So our area don't even have a CO.
Well, I appreciate your coming forward, and I'd be happy to have us, give written permission on the usual conditions provided, you know, following the state laws
Mhm.
and identification of the stand.
I have no problem with this. This is not something we need to vote on either, as far as I know. So I can send written permission to ComDev tonight, and they'll send it to you. In the future, I'll see with ComDev, or I'm not sure if it might have to go even beyond that, if we can give you and all hunters like written permission without having you to come in. It does specifically say we can't just give blanket permission to all hunters and say
Mhm.
anyone can do it. We do have to specify each person. But,
Yeah, I'm sure
In
in
the
the future
future,
you'll come out with a form, so it
Yeah.
makes it a little easier.
yeah, so hopefully we will streamline and formalize the process.
Are you required to have any type of, like, the permission from us on you? Do you need to have it as like a permit?
Yes.
It does say
so,
that,
yes.
as you did for Steve Pollock, you printed out a whole bunch of little tags and,
Okay,
because we
Yeah.
have to put one on the tree stand and one on the camera
okay.
in a little concealed envelope.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
the
So
quote
they could-
is,
Well, I just didn't know if we could just have it on record down at ComDev, because obviously if something happens, the police are gonna call, and,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
it would be on record.
the
Just to
quote is,
clarify, you have to have your name on. in
Name and
several
address and
places.
phone number on
But
the
do you have to have
tag.
the permission on that?
Yes, the permission has to be
It
with it
does, okay.
Oh,
in the same
okay.
envelope,
Okay,
because if they walk by and they see it, they'll look it up and.
okay.
I knew that was the case for bait sites. I misinterpreted the way it was written for tree stands.
Yeah, it's so new that.
Yeah. You know what we have, Eric? We've had Lieutenant, what was his name from Fishing Game? We had Ray Green, Lieutenant
Yeah.
Bill
Boudreaux
Boudreaux
here.
came down here.
We still have, would you like me to reach out to them, copy you, and ask them for some clarification, or maybe even recommendations of how to go about approaching these cases on a one-on-one?
Yeah, I think that'd be helpful, yeah.
In the interim, we're gonna just follow the law the best we can and
Yep.
Mhm.
get you
It
So
can't
just
be,
right away.
can't be the only conservation
Yeah, it's,
commission doing
the
this.
more they hear from conservation commissions that there's ambiguity in the law, the more likely they are to issue clarification before the
Yeah.
next year.
They came to one of our, both of them came to a meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure this year will be forgiven a little bit, but you can look it up online if you don't have the digest.
But we respect you
know.
for coming to us.
Could I just offer one thing? The day that I read this, this is the statement about what's legal and what's not legal and what you're supposed to do. After I read that, I went online. I get a online feed every day from New Hampshire Fish and Game about rescues that they have done over the previous days. A lot of, mostly ATV accidents and hikers getting hurt and can't get themselves out. On this particular day, right after I read this, I read about a guy that was working on his tree stand. He was by himself in the woods on a ladder, fell down. I don't know how he managed to get help because he was by himself, but they had to come and rescue him. So I guess I'm saying if you're out there doing stuff that could, you know, while you're building things that could result in an injury, it's probably not a bad idea to have somebody there with you.
Yeah, we usually hunt always a couple of guys at a time.
Yeah.
Like Steve Pollock, we've been hunting together forever, so we put the tree stands up, we take them down together, and
I'm sure that 99% of the people who are out there are responsible. This guy just happened
most
to be
hunters
careless.
usually are,
Yeah.
yeah. You gotta respect the nature and the game. I belong to the Fish and Game Club for over 25 years now, so, and I was also on the board for 6 years there, so I'm pretty familiar with the rules.
Okay, well, thank you for coming in. I will have the written permission form sent to ComDev tonight, and hopefully they'll send it to your email tomorrow.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is the Eagle Scout project discussion. That is discussion regarding Eagle Scout project on the Outlook Trail in Greater Woods to construct an observation deck and replace the sign/map at the site. You guys can come up, check the mics, state your names and addresses.
Check with,
Do you have a thumb drive or something? Yeah, because that's, we can use that computer and it'll display correctly. Yeah. Thank you.
And that's also showing on our computer, just so we're not totally ignoring your presentation. We have it in front of
We
us.
didn't find a better channel?
Yeah.
as long as it's green.
There we go. Okay. Okay, good evening. Thank you for having me tonight. For those of you who don't know me, I am Isaac Parker. I am a Life Scout here in Troop 48 in Merrimack, New Hampshire. And yeah, just like Mr. Starr said, I'm looking to do my Eagle Scout project in Greater Woods. And I'll just get right into that. It's an observation deck. Sorry.
Can you just give us your address, please?
Oh yeah, 4 Linda Lane, Merrimack, New Hampshire.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, so in Greater Woods off of the entrance off of Greater Road, there's the Wapak Panorama, about 10-minute hike. You can have access to it through the Greater Woods Trail or the Silverfish and Outlook Trail. And it's basically a lookout of the Wapak, Wapak Range. A really good view, and it faces directly west. Here's a satellite version of it, and you can see, yeah, like I was saying, westward view. There it is. Yep. And then here's the sign. As you can see, I think it's been there for many years, but it's started to get weathered, and right now it's just like it's like a plastic sheet over a piece of paper, with the range and like the mountains labeled. But yeah, as you can see, water's gotten in, it's kind of started to fade it. And if you turn directly around so you're looking this way, and you turn to 180 degrees, this is what you see behind you. This is the place I am proposing to build the actual deck, kind of nestled in here among these trees. This is the same, you can see the sign on the left. This is just a side view of the little nook we were just seeing in the slide before. And this is the deck. It's going to be the deck floor is 6 feet off the ground is what I'm proposing, and that's 42-inch railing, so about 9.5 feet total height. It'll be 8 by 8, and then there'll be a 38 to 40-inch doorway with one straight staircase. And then the new sign that would be put in is recommended by like Forest Services and stuff to put this digital high pressure laminate, which is specifically for colored and signs that are going to be out in the weather, in the sun or rain. So yeah, colored signs that are weatherproof. So this would be mounted on the deck, so people could see that as they're looking at the actual view. And then there's a bench on the back for people to rest as they're enjoying the view. And then, as you saw probably from the previous pictures, there's a lot of roots in that area, as is everywhere in New Hampshire. But we're hoping, if all goes as planned, to put 4-foot cement footers into the ground. So that'd be 4 feet into the ground. And those would be like cement formed tubes filled with cement, and then the 4x4 posts, the 4x4 posts would be anchored to those cement footers. And here's just a rough cost estimate of how much everything would cost. I apologize for not including the sign in there, but yeah. So yeah, all materials will be donated from local lumber stores and hardware stores, or paid through monetary contributions of family and troop members. And yeah, does anyone have any questions?
On the picture, I saw that you had a bench. Is the bench going to be facing out to the to the view? Is that how
Yeah,
it's gonna
sorry.
be?
So if you're looking here, the stairs would be coming down from the left of here. So so you're looking at the front-ish side. So yeah, the bench would be facing west towards the view.
Mhm. Also, I don't think we're obligated to do this, but this is like very, very close to the Amherst line, and they have
Mhm.
trails there as well.
Yeah.
Do you plan on notifying them that you're going to be building this here?
Uh,
Again, I don't think we have to do that,
yeah.
but I think it's a courtesy that we
So,
should.
yeah,
I can
Mr.
speak to
Perry
that. So,
Okay.
yes, so
and I were.
Isaac reached out, obviously through the commission, Isaac reached out to me. We did get in touch with Amherst. They were very concerned. Initially, they said no, they didn't want to have this done because they were concerned about the product being on their land. Eric, with your help, we got the map squared away, and we decided, and Isaac had a GPS location of where we were standing, where we wanted to do the deck. And we're very confident, and Amherst is completely on board with the fact
Okay.
that this is going in on Merrimack property, right at the Amherst section. As you all know, or if you don't know, that's the border between Amherst and Merrimack, and that outlook is looking out over private property. but that's right where Amherst owns property in Merrimack, and we own property in Amherst, and that whole line is, you can't follow the town line and have it be town property anymore. It changes ownership back and forth.
Yeah,
so
if
it's a
you go
little-
about 30 feet or maybe 60 feet north, it is Merrimack, but owned by Amherst. But
Yeah.
it's Merrimack land, but owned by Amherst. And if you go like another maybe 90 feet to the west,
It's,
you get in
Yeah.
the town of Amherst.
Yeah, so
but,
it's a
yeah.
it's a very odd little section, so. we
Now, is
did-
Amherst gonna be okay with getting the materials there? Because
Um,
it seems like the less convoluted of the routes is the one that goes through.
we didn't really ask them that. We told them we're going to be building a deck out there, and the chairman was like, yeah, okay, great, have fun, let us know.
Can-
So we
can
have
you-
some,
I'm sorry, go ahead, finish.
so we're also, I've been in touch with the landowner, the private landowner, and he's got some concerns about liability, cutting the trees. So he's got a copy of the RSA that says, you know, he's not posting his land, he's allowing people to use it, so he's not liable. And the state's gonna, you know, there's an RSA that says they're not liable if you allow people to use your property, you're not liable if they get injured doing on it. And if they're doing recreation or volunteer work on it, they know that there's danger inherent, and their own liability, so I've been trying to get hold of him, it's challenging. But he's in copy of the RSA, he's aware, so he's hopefully gonna say, yes, go ahead, we can cut some trees down too.
I have a question too. This is on top of a hill, mountain, right?
Yeah,
How do you dig 4 feet down? Isn't a lot of that rock? It is on.
yeah, that is what we are worried about. If we do have a few backup plans in case we do hit rocks or too many roots. One being we looked into, or Mr. Perry actually gave me the idea of putting what are called Bigfoots, where it's like kind of like spreads out. It's like I don't know, kind of like a funnel that you fill up with cement, and it kind of you put that on the ground, fill up with cement, and that would kind of act as a nice kind of foundation for it. Yeah. There is another also, just like maybe 10 feet to the left of this. There is kind of a grove of like thinner trees, maybe like biggest being like this wide, like 4 inches in diameter, and so maybe there would be like less roots over there. But yeah, we haven't done any digging yet, so we're not sure, but
On the bright side, they're trying to put footers in to keep this stable. If they go down and hit rock, it's gonna be pretty stable.
Isaac, I don't know if you know this or some of my colleagues might. I have not been here for other projects, and I'm really happy to hear about this proposal. How does it work for liability as far as the town goes? Does there need to be a certificate on file somewhere, or is there any aspect of liability that we need to look into?
We've never had to do anything like that in the
Okay.
past. And
Like-
we built bridges, we have other observation decks. We've notified the town of what was going on, and,
You're talking about liability for the people working.
You know, someone in a work party using a power tool
Okay.
gets injured or something.
oh, I thought you meant like liability, like once this is built. Yeah, again, that's it's people, it's this property that's public property, and people are using it for recreation and volunteering, and the risk inherent with their work is they're due to be, knowledgeable about their task. We do have, obviously, the new regulation about chainsaws and such, so if there's gonna be, what type of power tools we go up there with, we may have to just let the town know and tell them it's monitored by a scout team and a scout crew, and they're professionals doing their job, so.
Isaac, it's not something we've required in the past, but we hope you'll consider putting a plaque on this.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's in my plan to do that.
Any more questions for Isaac?
No, but I'm out there a lot, and over the years, I have seen the trees get higher and higher
Yeah.
and higher, and it ruins my view, so thank you.
Yeah, this is-
Absolutely.
That's one of the reasons we're trying to get in touch with this, or we're trying to get the landowner over here to give us permission to
Yeah.
cut some trees.
That's one of my favorite views from Grader, so
Yeah.
I'd be happy if the commission would recommend to the town council, I'd be in favor of recommending to the town council that they go ahead with this.
This is our property.
Hmm.
Does the council have to?
I don't believe the council's got to be involved in this.
I don't believe they do either.
This is our property. This is not, we've had places that it's town-owned property and not, it's only managed by us. This is actually our, we own this one, so.
I thought we'd always set them, because it's a donation of time
Yeah.
and lumber.
We just notify them of it. Right.
Yeah. I think I thought last time we did one of these, they wanted the person to come before them.
Yeah, don't we have to okay all donations?
But last time we did it, in fact, the young lady in the back row and I went when the person presented the town council. It was quick and easy.
It was on,
It was
which parcel?
I think it was the granite, selfie stands. We went with, it was quick and easy. They put it at the beginning of the agenda. The town council heard it and received the donation.
Would you like me to check? We have a meeting this Thursday, I can
One of
ask
those
them.
selfie stands is on school property. That might be why.
Mhm.
'Cause I haven't had a chance to
I think it
look.
wouldn't hurt to ask.
Yeah.
We
I
have a
would-
meeting this Thursday, so I can ask.
Okay, so then, is there any action that's required on us regarding
We
this,
need
or is
to
this just an
We will need
update?
to sign off.
We need to sign.
Yeah.
it.
Okay,
If I could get a signature from someone on the Conservation Commission tonight, just to keep the ball rolling, that'd be great.
yeah, I mean, I could do that. Is that something that, is there actually a specific piece of paper I have to sign,
Yeah,
or is this
uh-huh.
just, okay,
I brought my proposal for the.
oh, is that it?
Yeah, he's got forms in here that show.
We have copies of this,
Oh, great.
so
Yeah,
can we sign one of these?
Well,
and that's-
actually, if you could sign the one I brought that I.
Yep.
Because I have like my information to send to the.
Yeah, you can just hand it over here and I'll sign it. Thank you.
Isaac, I'll send you the contact info for that landowner also, and keep you informed of any progress we make.
Where do I sign it on this?
Oh,
Is
sorry,
it?
let me-
Also, can I borrow your pen, just to make it more official? I only have a pencil.
Gel pen, the ink will last.
Mhm.
You do down here.
Okay, right there. Oh, wait, today's the 9th. Got the wrong date.
Ninth.
Just initial it.
9/9/20. Okay, there you go.
There's one.
Oh.
Just a contact info.
Mhm.
Actually, never mind. We're good, thank
you. Okay, if you do need anything else signed,
Alright.
well, yeah. Okay, so thank you for coming in. Don't forget your thumb drive.
Yes, thank you for having me tonight.
No problem.
Thank you.
All right, yeah, make sure to exit out of this on the PowerPoint. Next, I'm going to, just because we have people here, I'm gonna actually move the 4th agenda item up to the 3rd agenda item. and we can talk about the policy regarding lost pets on Conservation Commission properties. Oh, sorry. So, you guys can just check to make sure the mic's, the light green light is on, and state your names and addresses for the record.
Holly Mokrzki, Mokrzeki, 40 Grand Avenue, Manchester, New Hampshire.
I'm Amy Matt Chacon, 152 Amherst Road.
Is your mic on?
Oh, there we go.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Amy Mayotte de Chacon, 152 Amherst Road in Merrimack.
And Gina Rosati, 15 Dunbarton Drive, Merrimack, New Hampshire. I should talk first. So I emailed everyone because there was a lost dog in Greater Woods, which has it found its way home? Yeah. Oh, good. Okay. Back in July of 2018, we were talking about something completely different, and this topic came up about lost dogs and what to do with lost dogs as far as Granite State Dog Recovery was concerned. And we decided that we would authorize me as a commissioner to have contact with a volunteer from Granite State Dog Recovery, so in the event that there was a lost dog, she could get in touch with me quickly, I could give authorization, and hopefully the dog would be recovered quickly with the procedures. So when this lost dog came and Colleen got in touch with me, we realized I'm no longer Commissioner Rosati. So it doesn't work anymore. So the reason that we're here tonight is because we would like to open this up again and get a procedure in place and get it into the bylaws so that 20 years down the road, 30 years down the road, there is still a procedure in place, and whoever is sitting here, Gage, of course, will still be here, but who knows where the rest of us will be. But we should have something in place so that everyone knows what's going on. My suggestion would be that, just like we have somebody for each subcommittee, we have somebody that's kind of like our animal person, because I want to plant the seed right here. I think we should do the same thing for Millstone. You know what I'm talking about? Millstone Wildlife, remember?
Oh.
Tom, were you there when the fox was released?
Oh, yes.
No.
Oh,
no.
well, anyway, sometimes, I'll send a separate email about that, but if we had one person that's kind of the animal person, that's the contact for Granite State Dog Recovery, and they would agree to allow their mobile phone to be given to Holly and to Amy, then we could contact somebody very quickly, because time is important when there's a lost dog.
Yes, absolutely. I have no problem with this. I think it's great. I'm just kind of curious, what stops you from just going and doing it? What do they need our permission for? What do they need
Okay,
our?
so I'm gonna turn this over to Holly.
Yeah, because I mean, it's public property. We allow anyone to go on it.
So it is public property, but we do have to have permission, just like a hunter, to set up game cameras to find out if our animals are coming. Every single one of our cameras are marked. So once we get the dog on camera eating at a feeding station, that's another thing, we put out food, high value food, then our next step is to set a trap, and it's a live trap, a box trap that is marked with our organization's name, a contact number, and then the poster of the lost dog that we are catching. So we need your permission to set up cameras on conservation property, and next step would be the traps on conservation property. And we never set a trap without having landowner permission.
And I just want to comment that we have really cool cameras that do go right to our cell phones.
Yeah.
So we're watching this the whole time a trap is set.
Yeah, that was my next question. How frequently would that be checked? But they're monitored pretty much all the time?
Yes.
Yes, our cameras are on 24/7, and if we catch a skunk at 2 a.m, we're tramping to the woods of Merrimack to go let it out at 2 a.m.
So your proposal is to put this into the bylaws that will allow this? Why wouldn't we just put it in chapter 111?
Well, Tim Tenhaven Tim Tenhave's suggestion was that we codify it, so I'm assuming that that means we put it into the bylaws or put it in chapter 111, whatever you want to do. There needs to be a procedure because Granite State Dog Recovery will still be here doing their thing. They have a great setup. So I just want to make sure that the Conservation Commission still knows what needs to be done down the line.
Chapter 111 might seem like overkill. I think we only put things in there that we needed a statute so it could be enforced.
Well, yeah,
This
and-
is simpler than that, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so, but the only reason I was saying that is that chapter 111 covers our property we manage, and the property that the town owns, not just, because we can't, I don't think anyone's gonna complain, but we can't technically give them permission to go do this on town property that we manage. We'd have to get the town's permission, right?
I don't know, it's not prohibited in chapter 111.
Yeah, but okay.
You might, yeah.
I know, I was just trying to think of the best way to get it, so it's everywhere.
Mhm.
It's they, you have a dog or whatever, and they can go. They don't need to worry about, go look up the map and find out whose parcel it is and who they need to talk to.
We're not looking for permission for the backlots, because one thing that I have learned, and you guys can confirm, is Granite State Dog Recovery is really good at knocking on people's doors and saying there's a lost dog
Yeah.
in the area, may we set up a feeding station? So,
And I know in the past, the town of Merrimack, the police department, has granted us permission in areas. Over the summertime, we had a dog, that was out for a good 5 weeks that we were trapping. And we got permission from the police to, if we had to, set up on school property, as long as our stuff is monitored and not facing, any
Great.
children or kids.
When do we change our bylaws? July?
Yeah, we change them at the annual meeting, which sometimes it's April, sometimes it's July. I think it's now back to July.
Okay. So in the interim, we just need to make sure we have a person designated as
Yeah.
the hotline?
Mhm.
I think my understanding is you can change them whenever you want. That was kind of what Tim had told me.
We we have to post, I think we have to post it, it's twice as long. We have to get like a 14-day post for bylaws or something like that. Because it's just part of the agenda for. Well, regardless, we can take care of that administrative side. We just need to designate someone to. What did you do? You just got the phone call and
In
then
all
sent
honesty,
an email out to everybody?
Yeah, but in all honesty, this should not be a huge thing, because
No.
in 6 years, there was not a lost dog. And
Yeah.
what prompted this was, all of a sudden, somebody saw a dog that was drinking out of a swamp, and it got back to Colleen. It had been there for a while.
My
People
dog
were
does that all
starting
the
to
time.
feed it. This is not Gibbs. People were starting to feed it, so, it was clearly a lost dog. And now that you're mentioning it, I did see the outcome of that, so. So it's not something that happens a lot, but when it does happen, you need to jump on it. so
Right, but
that
that's the
you
thing,
can
so
get the
what,
dog.
you just sent an email out to everybody and that was it?
I sent an email, and basically what ended up happening was, you didn't even need the feeding station. I can't remember. I think it
Well,
went
no,
into
I'm just saying,
Amherst.
I'm just saying procedural, Gina, you get a
So-
phone call
So
from the.
what, so I get a phone call, or whatever, and find out that the dog is missing, and I say, do what you need to do. And then meanwhile, I'm on the other side, and I'm sending an email to Conservation Commission and the subcommittee, hey, Granite State Dog Recovery will be setting up cameras, feeding station, cage with a trip plate.
Okay.
I'm not sure if that's what you call it, but, okay. And they'll be monitoring it. If you need to go in at night after hours, call the local police and just let them know, we're gonna be going in. They've worked with you closely
Yes.
before.
Oh, yes.
So it's,
So really all that's, our part, so just one of us is the contact, and we just get a call, and we just, on behalf of the commission, give you permission to set up cameras and traps and stuff like that?
yes, please.
Okay. Does anyone volunteer to be a liaison? Because I'll do it if no one else volunteers.
I'll do it.
You'll do it? Okay.
Sure.
Thank you,
Gotta answer your
Tom.
phone.
What?
Gotta answer your phone.
Okay,
Can we
will.
text you, Tom?
yeah.
Can we text you?
Can you test, My ring is off. Let me get it.
No, text you, not
Well,
text.
Oh, test me.
Text.
Oh, text.
No, no, well, we'll get your
Well,
contact information after, when we're off camera.
Okay, let me just get my,
Yeah, we'll do it after, so not everyone's got your number in there.
Yeah.
I'll write it down.
And would you like to give Tom your numbers? Sure. Okay.
Yeah, and if
You
you,
can,
like,
you can write them down.
if you can
on
just
here.
give us a quick, like, form letter type of thing, so
Okay.
we'll make sure that we got everything covered, that we get, because we might as well just put that on the,
I'll make
the
sure
bylaws
that
too
you
with
have
it.
Tom's contact
you
information
know,
through the town too.
what you're giving approval for,
Mm-hmm.
you know, when you take on this role.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. Can I write it on the back of this? Can I issue that?
And then, Tom, if you decide at the end of the year that you wanna, you know, that when everybody's redoing their subcommittees,
Yeah.
when you have your annual meeting, then somebody else can take it over, but you'll just make sure that you let Holly and Amy know, so.
So would you guys, after this is done, could we write it into like a bylaw that we have Granite State Dog Recovery has permission, so we don't have to contact you directly every time there's a lost dog? Not saying that it happens often, but it could happen. It'll be our luck. We're gonna walk out of here and now there's a lost dog in Merrimack, you know?
Yeah, I think permission, I would not even have any concern with the permission, but I still think we need to get notified, because just so we need to be able to tell people, there's, you know, the subcommittee, us and the subcommittees, we're the people that are out there often,
Okay,
and it would be good to say, oh, hey, there's gonna be traps set up, and, you know, and this is why they're there, this is what's going on.
Gotcha.
Just more of an FYI,
okay, thank you.
yep.
So the procedure would go, lost dog, Holly or Amy or another volunteer would text Tom or call Tom. Tom would let the Conservation Commission know by email, and he would also let the subcommittee know.
Okay.
Okay.
What's the procedure if they can't reach Tom? Because does that mean they have to wait until he responds for them to go?
ComDev? And
You can, see, that's, originally I thought, oh, you know, we'll do ComDev, because there's always gonna be a ComDev secretary, but not on Saturday and
No,
Sunday.
weekends, right?
And not at night.
Yeah, we'll call you.
So if it's in the bylaws, it's like a blanket
A
thing
permission.
saying they can go forward at any
Yeah.
time,
And
just,
please just
just a
notify us.
courtesy
Yeah.
notification,
So we
right?
know where, yeah. Well, okay, well, I suppose we can't really amend the bylaws right now, but we could technically grant them permission to just go.
Yeah, I'm okay with granting, so like, I mean, since it's like, putting up cameras and stuff, it's kind of almost covered in the hunting, paper,
Right.
which says that we can't give blanket permission for all land in Merrimack, I think. Where is it written here?
I wonder if it would be different because it's a trap, does that,
Yeah, but it's,
Yeah, if it's
it's not
trapping,
hunting.
similar
Yeah,
enough?
I
You're
believe
trapping, but you're not.
the
you're
law
not
specifies, I think,
You're
that,
not harvesting an animal.
trapping and baiting, if not for the benefit of hunting, is perfectly legal, in all circumstances. I mean, trapping might be a little different, but I think in this case it would be okay.
And it's not a game species. You're not out trapping fisher cats.
Right.
You're not out trapping a beaver, you're out trapping, or a mink or something, you're trapping someone's pet.
Right, and if a fisher cat or a skunk or something gets in, then Holly and Amy will go and release the very angry fisher cat
and let
back
us
into
know.
the wild. Yes.
There's no such thing as fish cat.
Do,
It's a fish.
Oh.
I can tell you, in the 20 years that I've been trapping lost dogs, we've trapped one fisher cat, never, ever a coyote or a fox.
they don't like Burger King. Sorry. Anyway, well, that's what we talk about with high-quality food, is you want something that is gonna draw them in, something that's charcoal broiled. So, do we want to use what you all, well, what Gage approved? Who else was here then? Were you
Uh,
here in 2018?
I was here, yeah, I vaguely,
Okay.
wait, was I here in
Steve, were you here
2018?
in 2018? Okay, so you guys were part of
I don't know,
approving that.
2018 or 2019 was my first year here.
Okay, okay. Do you want me to read what was approved?
Yes, I
Please.
do have it, but yes, you can read it.
You what?
I do have it on my phone right now, but you can read it.
Please. Yeah.
Okay, so it was a request for Merrimack Conservation Commission to authorize a commissioner, who will be Tom Martinson, to utilize their discretion and allow Granite State Dog Recovery to utilize commission properties when necessary, and that the commission inform, the commissioner inform the commission and the appropriate subcommittee of such activity in a timely manner. So we could also add to that, you know, what would be I had written down Granite State Dog Recovery may do any or all of the following: set up cameras that will be closely monitored without video sound. Was that the rule?
Yeah, you can't record
Yes.
sound. in
Not
public, yeah.
recording sound, leave food and water, and set up a cage with a trip plate. Granite State Dog Recovery volunteers are well-trained and will leave the area as they found it. Authorization of Granite State Dog Recovery will also allow volunteers to access the property after hours if needed. They can be in touch with the Merrimack Police Department to advise if this is necessary. Does that sound like we're covering everything?
I think so.
Any
Yeah.
chance I can get a copy of that?
Yes, you can. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
So do you want a motion on that? Should we vote?
Should we do a motion tonight, or is this, because if it's a bylaw, weren't you saying 14 days?
We're saying if we're gonna make we're gonna grant approval, so now we're just arguing semantics here. If we're gonna make a vote that we're putting Tom in that role, I would think that's just normal, but we
Mhm.
can't vote on making changes to the bylaw without having that as an agenda item.
Okay, yeah. So is there anything we should vote on tonight then?
I don't know,
Or-
do we need to make it an official role?
Usually when we make liaisons for something, we don't usually vote.
We don't usually vote for
It's a
that, so I mean,
volunteer.
yeah, it's just a
Yeah.
volunteer, so I don't think we really need to make a motion for anything.
Okay.
Tom's got approval, he's got our approval to do it, to grant the permission or whatever, and we can put it into the bylaw as some official role at some later time.
Okay, that sounds good. Any more concerns, any more comments?
Thank you
Okay.
for what you do.
Yeah.
Yes,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Yeah. My dog was lost on Tuesday. So,
no.
took 2 hours, we got him back, but, yeah, I had to run a lot. My phone said I ran 5 miles that day.
Oh, wow.
Now you know who to call if he doesn't come
Yeah,
back.
I know.
Thank you all very, very much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for your time.
My dog keeps finding his way back.
Okay, so next, that sets us up for a proposal from resident to raise the grade of their backyard to address drainage issues with the land being under a drainage conservancy easement owned by the Conservation Commission. Parcel is located at 27 Sarah Drive, tax map 4C, lot 48-05. So this originates from an email I got from Casey Wolfsmith of ComDev about 3 weeks ago, maybe. A household, here it is, the Haywards, I believe. You'll see in your packet, you have a picture of their property. So there's a sort of a swampy area of the property, and they want to raise the grading to get rid of that swamp area. But as you'll see in the deed, in 1995, this was made a conservation easement. And that conservation easement, specifically, I pointed out 2 sections of the deed that I think are relevant here. That would be under use limitations, number 1, 1-D and 1-A. Now, so 1-D says no changes in topography, surface or subsurface water systems, wetlands, or natural habitats shall be allowed that would harm state or federally recognized rare or endangered species. And 1-H,
Well, continuing that,
yeah,
otherwise, none of the aforementioned shall be allowed continued, except as necessary in the accomplishment of the habitat management.
mhm, Yep.
So, this would, even if there aren't
I was,
endangered species, it still could be.
yeah, so I was confused by that, the otherwise, and the addition says, if, it doesn't matter if the species are rare and endangered, why are they specified in the first place? I was wondering, that confused me.
Yes, that's a good point. Sounds repetitive.
Yeah, so it seems unnecessary, so I mean, this was written by lawyers, so they must have known what they were doing, it must have been specific for a reason, but I'm not entirely sure. And 1-H also says, there shall be no activities, actions, or uses detrimental or adverse to water conservation, erosion control, soil conservation, or fish and wildlife habitat.
Yes, I'm looking at that, and I'm reading those two statements, and they, to me, are against each other.
Which two statements? is
So,
D and H?
D and
D
H,
and
so
H.
we say, okay, so otherwise not affirmation shall be allowed as necessary in the accomplishment or of the habitat management or the conservation uses of the property and not detrimental to the use of this purpose of this easement. You're gonna have to stumble with me a little bit, cause I don't have my glasses. Thanks. So, right there, it's saying that, to me, it's saying you're allowed to do some work in there to keep the management of that property.
Mhm.
Right, that's, otherwise, you shall be allowed,
Manage
except as necessary.
Habitat and conservation uses.
Habitat management.
Habitat management and conservation management. Right, and then it says down below, like, erosion control, you can't do anything for erosion control?
No, you
was that?
can't do anything,
That would affect erosion control, I think, anything,
yeah,
that's how uses detrimental or adverse to erosion control. So I think something that would make the
Would
erosion
cause
worse.
right,
Yeah,
Okay.
to cause it, yes.
right.
Could you argue that doing the grading actually is preventing erosion? Just because it's just a swampland that's,
No,
It changes
No, damn.
topography. And I'm looking at the memo that came from Community Development along with this, and apparently what they are looking to the Conservation Commission for is to decide whether or not determining that this is a wetlands is a concern. I believe it is. And if they consult a
Wait.
wetland scientist, and the wetland scientist gives us the fish and game or
Do you
wildlife
believe this
thing.
is a wetlands, or do you believe that we need to,
I believe we need a sign.
I believe we
need a
need to have that
scientist.
determined.
okay.
yeah, I think a wetland scientist should come in and,
Seeing that it's wet 3 seasons of the year,
Yep.
this could very well be an important vernal pool.
I mean, as a Merrimack homeowner who lives not too far from here, believe me, my heart goes out to the homeowners
Right.
who have this. But in fact, the easement was part of the deed going back to 1995 or 96. And if ComDev wants to know, do we want this pursued, I say yes.
Yes, I also have a clarification on the map. So there's the pink highlighted and there's the yellow highlighted. Where does the conservation easement begin? Is it the entire
I
property?
thought the entire property was under the easement.
I thought it said the pink area was,
Yeah.
Okay.
I know, it's drainage and right, it looks like it's only that area.
You're right, the map does seem to indicate that it is just this wetland area, or not wetland area, depending on what
Because,
scientist
so I
is
don't
saying.
think there's an issue with the yellow part where to maintain a positive slope away from the house, which
Mhm.
is the first thing they definitely need if they're having
Mhm.
flooding issues, and that part is not, I believe, an issue.
Mhm.
I think they can do that without consulting us if that's not part of the easement.
In that case, I believe that would, because I don't think it would affect any of the topography of the easement.
Right.
I should also mention, Casey also offered for the Haywards to come here tonight so we can ask some questions. I asked her to delay that because I felt that we weren't informed enough to ask informed questions.
Right.
Otherwise, I felt like we'd just be wasting their time. I felt like we should have a discussion first before they would come in, just so that we'd have actual real questions to answer rather than just asking questions among ourselves. So I wanted to get this part out of the way before we actually had them come in.
So I was digging around on all the websites I could find. I cannot find this easement drawn up anywhere. I mean, it's obviously here, it's obviously in the deed, so
It's
it
in the
exists.
deed.
I'm not saying that. But I'm saying, do we have any idea where this is mapped? Is it documented anywhere other than this right here, in this plot plan?
No, I raised that with Casey, and she pointed me towards the deed. Other than that, honestly, the only thing we have to go on where the actual easement is would be this map that we're provided, which has the area labeled as drainage and conservation easement.
I know, this map is very confusing because the part that is pink, it looks like they're labeling it drainage and conservation easement, but the outline is actually labeled the edge of poorly drained soils. So I'm confused about where the easement is.
Well, that might be the easement, is the section of soil that
The
doesn't
edge
drain.
of poorly drained.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's possible, it's very possible this easement, as Gage mentioned before the meeting, I think, that this easement might actually go on to multiple
Right.
properties.
Okay.
I think what the town told us was essentially that a wetland scientist would need to determine if it was a wetland, and if it is, delineate where that wetland is. And even if we had no objections, if it is a wetland,
They can't
New
do it.
Hampshire DES has to
Has to
do a
Yes,
dredge and
it
fill
can be a
permit, right?
minimal impact one, but they'd still have to know it. I'm looking at this biodiversity conservation plan that is
Yeah.
part of our town documents, and that whole neighborhood around Sarah, the green, right in the middle of it, it's as though the backyard of every house on Sarah and Craig. I need that clarified before we can make a decision.
Yeah.
We simply need more information.
There's,
Yeah.
there's very little topography back there, so it's pretty flat. And there is a number of swamps and wetlands in the back, so it's
Well-
quite wet over there.
And I'm wondering if that's why there's a conservation easement,
Right.
is for the wetland, in which case our due diligence,
Yeah.
I mean, we need,
That,
we
that
need
was, that was the real concern I got with this, was, I wanted to know why the easement was there in the first place. I felt that would have, because for the most part, I don't want to get in the way of people unless, if, there actually is a very good reason
Right,
for us
right.
to do this. So, yeah, I think one of the questions I could come up with was that, why was the easement put there in the first place? And I was hoping the deed would specify that. It doesn't really, it's just the legal, language. Yeah.
So can we specifically ask ComDev to look into why was this easement placed?
Yep.
But you,
Is there another agent, another agency within the town that would have an expert that could go out and help determine if this is, it stinks to ask a landowner to go pay more money, all to do something to prevent water from ending up in their basement.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think Gareth brings up a good point. There's the section that's right behind the house that's not in the easement, that they can put some
Yep.
sloped up
By
there.
all appearances.
Yeah, to allow them to at least get the water away from their house. They may not get their yard back yet, but they can at least
Yeah.
get it away from their house.
Yeah, because
I think what that would result in, though, is just that water close to the house, just emptying into the easement area.
Yep, it would.
It would.
I mean, this says that the memo from ComDev says that the property owner did hire a surveyor to come
Yeah.
in and mark the property, and if,
Yeah.
I'd like to go in there. Well, it's
I
private
know.
property, I can't do that,
Yeah.
but,
Well, I'm
I'd
sure
love
they-
to
I'm
see
sure
that with
they'd
a map.
Let us, we're trying to help them, like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that they'd need some expedited
pretty- it's a pretty
decisions
friendly
for
neighborhood.
this. Yeah, but we need more information.
What does IR mean?
on the deed, where is it?
It, on the map, IR set 7/15/96.
See, 96, so, well, if the easement was done in 95,
Yeah.
so, I'm trying to see. Maybe it's not relevant to that.
Maybe they put markers.
those are the markers.
Yeah, they
Okay.
seem to be property markers up right in the corners.
Okay. Yeah.
What IR stands for, I'm not entirely sure.
Iron rod,
Is it?
Oh,
probably iron
Oh,
rod.
yeah,
It's a,
that's-
probably, it's a corner marker.
Okay.
this one's CD set.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we need to know why the easement was put there in the first place.
And we'd
Um,
like a very clear, where is the easement?
Right, so where's the easement? So, yeah, so a clear map of the easement as it sprawls across the properties. Why the easement was put there in the first place. We need a wetland scientist, it sounds like, to judge whether or not it is a wetland and also to see if there are any endangered species there. I do hope we can, expedite this process and let them do it because, I don't want to feel like they're being punished for having conservation easement, even though I don't know if these are the original people who put it under the easement. I don't believe they are.
And some of
They
these
aren't, then they
documents might be available already in ComDev, an inventory of the species in town and an inventory of the wetlands. We just need to have that in front of us
Yeah,
at the same time
yeah.
as all this.
I mean, if they bought it after the easement was placed, then when they bought the house, that should have been
yeah.
disclosed.
It would
Hopefully,
have been in their deed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in their
Yeah.
deed.
Now, we have I found two different wetland maps, and neither of them show wetlands on that
Hmm.
property.
I also looked on a few different GIS maps
So-
and neither of them were defined as a wetland
Yep.
by those GIS. So
Right.
I don't know how official those are, how updated they are, but
Right.
Right.
that is what I saw too.
And those may not include, seasonal wetlands.
Mhm.
No, it's
no.
wetlands
They
property. These are the wetland maps.
Yeah,
So-
They
I
so
live
if
near,
it's-
vernal
if it's a-
pools.
yeah, I live
Even
near
if it's a vernal
seasonal
pool, it's
wetlands
gonna
there.
be,
Okay.
it would be listed on them,
Yeah.
Okay.
so.
Yeah, and I'm not a wetland scientist. I'm a I am a marine biologist, so I can tell you if it's an ocean or not. But as far as wetlands, what limited training I have, I don't think it's gonna be defined as a wetland, but I can't promise that. I do work with wetland scientists, but I haven't gotten their ideas yet.
Yeah, the only thing I could find was on the US Fish and Game site is a soil map, and I couldn't get the property lines to show up, but I'm thinking, looks like it's right there on the edge of a soil type, and that would maybe kind of coincide with that little pink finger sticking into the property. Well, those look what's further back, but.
So Eric, if you could inquire with community development,
Yep.
I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, I have 3 points, the map, origins of the easement, and wetland scientist. And hopefully I can get some clearer answers and hopefully we can help these people out, just not be a stick in the mud.
Was that a pun?
It wasn't meant to be, but yes. Yeah, so. Okay, and next up is town center trail preparation, trail clearing on school property, new maps and markers. This is basically just a bunch of agenda items pushed into one, half by Gage and half by me, and Andrew might have actually put in 1 or 2. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, so would you like to go first or should I go first?
Go ahead, that's fine.
Okay, so I've been in contact with DPW, Parks and Rec, and the Town Center Trail Subcommittee, Nelson Disco. And over the past month or so, I've just been doing some little things there and having some conversations. So updates I have to ask. First off, what I think is the most important one is that Parks and Rec has given us permission, Matt Kasparius gave us permission to go into like old trails and Google and stuff and list the main entrance to Wildcat Falls as Watson Park, which would hopefully fix the parking. I don't know about this direct last weekend, but I know 2 weekends ago, Labor Day weekend, was again another mess at Wildcat Falls. I do know they did call the police, so there was a police presence this time.
Yeah, I was thinking, that sounds like a Google issue.
Yeah, and I don't know exactly how to fix it on Google, like, if that's
Oh.
something we can just do.
You
or-
could,
Yeah,
you
it's
could
quite
submit
simple.
corrections.
Okay,
Yep, and cite in your correction, you can add comments and say that
Mhm.
I'm on the
Yeah.
Conservation Commission and that's not the entrance and it needs to change.
So I'm gonna take a little side road here real quick.
Mhm.
a while ago, and I've been looking for the notes and I cannot find them, so I'm gonna have to go through ComDev. I believe we changed the name of Wildcat Falls to Wildcat. The Wildcat Conservation Area.
I remember during COVID, when we were trying to think of ideas to get people to visit
Yeah,
lists,
I thought we changed
we
it.
did, we voted to change the name to, I think it was 80 Acres,
80
the original
Acres.
name, we changed it to.
Yeah, but it's not 80 acres anymore.
Yeah. I voted against it. So, yeah, don't blame me.
No. No, I thought we changed it to the Wildcat Conservation Area.
That I don't remember. I only remember changing it to 80 Acres, but we could check,
Okay.
I mean, it was one of the Zoom meetings on COVID. I don't know the exact date. I actually might have it in my notebook if I get a chance to look, but it's probably like summer of 2020, or maybe.
Yeah, this was right after it was listed in the L.O. Bean catalog as one of the New England falls in New England, and they sent a tour bus down Courier Road.
Oh, okay, that was before my time, actually,
Yeah.
then, so that's something different.
Yeah, we had a tour bus.
I do know the
Tour bus
story.
got stuck in the parking lot.
Mhm.
Idiots.
Yeah.
So the name change was just to make it less
Yeah,
attractive.
we tried to take
Yeah.
falls out, because the whole L.O. Bean was this, it was every location where there's waterfalls in New England.
Purgatory Falls had to close for
Yeah,
the same reason.
Mm.
And they really, idiots. I could have sworn we changed the name of it. So, but it can now, because now we're all still calling it Wildcat Falls, and
Well, yeah.
at some point in time, we should make sure we've got the name right.
So, what I'm hearing is, it's okay with Parks and Rec that we list the main entrance to be at Watson?
Yep, now that the town center trail, I don't know if it's officially opened yet, so we
It
probably
is.
should, okay, it is official now?
It is.
Okay.
Now, the concern is that, is the entire trail from Watson to, when people get to Wildcat Falls, do they know? The signage right there after it goes under the highway, I believe, is on state property.
Mhm.
Can we put up anything to tell people?
Well, we.
Which might be a whole nother bottle of wax.
I believe so. So we have gotten permission from the school district to maintain the trails on
Okay.
school land.
Good.
I think that would include putting up signs, not just brush clearing.
Yeah, because that would just, you're just telling people, yes, you are in the right place. Head
Yeah.
uphill and you're in.
I can also
And-
write a post. Can you tell me what it should say?
It's standby.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I also believe we have, I think there's another thing that was covered on email discussions these past few weeks, which was that we do have permission to maintain trails on DOT land, Department of Transportation land.
Ah, good.
And I think that also includes putting up signs, because we were talking about new places to put signs, and I think there's one perfect place, which would be on DOT land, right when you're about to go down the hill that goes under the highway
Mhm.
and onto school land. I think that would be one good location. And then maybe another on school land as you leave Watson Park and go on to Wildcat property. But I wanted to get the subcommittee's thoughts before we did anything like placing signs or designing signs. But yeah, so we do have permission to make Watson Park the main parking lot. My hope is that out-of-towners will now be directed there, and the Courier parking lot will just sort of be like a thing only locals know about. Don't know how much, I assume most of the people are going there based on online maps and stuff, not inner knowledge, but, yeah, so,
Yeah,
so that's
the
what I
last-
thought was the most important thing. That was my top thing to talk about. And also, we are now allowed to maintain property, trails on the school property. On that note, if you've been down to the school section of Wildcat Falls, the trails get really messy. And it's mainly because, I don't think it was this past winter, it might have been 2 winters ago, a massive tree came down and blocked one of the main trails. And it was just so massive, and because it was on school property, we couldn't maintain it or anything like that. And so school never got around to doing it. And since then, sort of like maybe 2 or 3 other trails have kind of opened up, and just sort of, it becomes really hard to actually see what the trail is. And so I was down there and I was mapping the new trail, like connecting from Watson to Wildcat Falls. And even I got lost a couple of times, and I've been down there a lot of times. There have been, I think, as of 2 weeks ago, I think there have already been like 3 calls of people complaining about not having a clearly defined trail. So, one part is DPW is clearing some of the trails because there are smaller branches that are just covering up areas. There's also a bridge that is rotting away, a little footbridge. And also, and someone said that the trail markers have been ripped down. I wasn't sure if there were trail markers there in the first place, but the point is there should be trail markers now that we have permission to maintain it. I'm okay with doing that myself, although I don't have actually any trail markers at home. I do know that later on Gage has an infrastructure inventory management, so that might be something settled for there, but, we do need someone.
Gonna say they're at the,
that,
they're at the,
are they all at
the
one place
magic
now?
shed,
Uh,
all
Okay.
in one place.
I can tell you that I have some in the back of my pickup truck right now that I got today from a former member of this commission.
So, I think that we should continue this trail as part of Wildcat.
Yes.
So it would be maintained and signed the same as Wildcat. Their signage does not necessarily meet the same standards that we use on all the other properties. So, I don't know what you have for signs, and I'd have to get Andrew to tell us what exactly they put up for signs. But we should sign that trail like the rest of Wildcat.
I noticed, I was there this past weekend, when you come from Wasserman under the underpass, there,
Watson.
the first maybe quarter mile, there are markers, and they're the white square ones.
Okay?
And that's what I have in the back of my truck.
Okay, yeah, that's
You
what,
can have them today if you want.
yeah, you can hand them to me after
Okay.
the meeting, and,
Do you have the nails?
Nails are at home.
I could get nails myself, yeah. that
You
would
get
be no
You
problem.
nails?
just use the big, long Galvy nails,
Okay,
the roofing nails.
okay.
And there's a bucket of them in the magic shed.
Yeah, and the one thing that can actually help people is that there are, and they seem very old, but I can't say that for sure, but some of the trees do have painted arrows on them. You can only see them if you're going from Wildcat to Watson, not the other way around. But they actually did serve as a pretty good guide when I was going through there. But once DPW has cleared the area, I'll go ahead and place up the trail markers.
So they're actively going to go do that? That's,
Yes, I've already,
I
I've given them.
backed out of that conversation when you got in, so I left it alone.
Oh, yeah, so I did provide DPW with a map with
Okay.
notes, and, yeah, I don't know if they've gone out yet. I know that they wanted to get it done before the trail, the Town Center Trail officially opened.
Right.
DPW doesn't really let us know when they've actually completed it, just that they will get to it, so when the project is done, usually they don't tell us, so I would have to go check myself. But I wouldn't be surprised, given that Parks and Rec was on this also, and I wouldn't be surprised if they have already done it. I did tell them to leave the fallen tree alone, just because it was so big that it would take a major effort even for DPW to remove it, and the new trail's already been set up behind it. So the massive tree is gonna probably have to stay there.
As long as the trail's clear.
Yeah, and it's actually a pretty fun area, like the fallen tree area, but, let's see, so that covers that. Kiosk locations, that's something that I did email, the Wildcat Subcommittee about potential kiosk locations. I didn't hear back, and Andrew's not gonna be here for the next 2 meetings, so I guess I'd like to wait on them, just so that they can provide their ideas, but, yeah, so I don't really have much more to add on that, other than we were discussing along with Parks and Rec, just potential new signage that will let people know of what the new trail is. Because actually our current Wildcat Falls maps, they don't actually cover the trail that goes basically from the Dog Beach down to Watson Park. Mainly, there's a section of the trail that goes along the river and then eventually goes up to the DOT land where it forks underneath the highway and then back into Wildcat Falls. That trail's not actually on the map, which I did not realize.
Because it's not our property.
Yeah, it's DOT property. But I did create a rough draft of a map for that. I actually meant to put it in the packet today, but it didn't get there. So I will make sure to send that to people for the next meeting or whenever the next time we discuss a new Wildcat map. And that, I think, is everything I had to talk about regarding Wildcat Falls. So,
All right, yeah, so, yeah, the one, I think we need to make sure that Wildcat now includes that parcel, even though it's a school parcel, that school trail. Town Center is only concerned up until their trail ends. And if you've walked that new support, if you walk that new bridge, the concrete bridge, it's handicapped accessible, and they make a big deal about that. The minute it gets to the end, it is not handicapped accessible.
that's true, yeah.
That's a quite steep step right there.
So when you say the Town Center Trail, so you're saying like the Town Center Trail, as far as the Town Center Trail like committee is
Yeah,
concerned,
they-
ends right when
They
it
made-
touches
yeah,
earth, basically?
They cut it up to that trail
Okay.
that goes in behind the high school, and then that's like, they're like, okay, we're done. And that's, that was when Nelson and John and everyone were calling us, trying to figure out who's running that. It's like, no one maintains that. That's
Yeah.
school property, we don't do it. We own an acre parcel back there, behind the school.
Yes, I actually did see that on the map. I
So,
was not
yeah,
aware of that one,
Yeah,
but
we,
yeah.
we own an acre parcel back there, so we are granted rights to go down there and maintain your trail, because the school's not, no one is allowed to stop you from getting to your own parcel. So that's why there's a memo, and there should be a memo of understanding, and I have a copy of it from Matt Chevernell, so I can get that to you. There's quite a lot of structure down there. And if you walk the trail, there's a couple benches, there's things, there's gonna be a lot of maintenance initially required to get that place back up to.
There are 2 footbridges. One has, the final step is rotting away. At least 2 benches, and then there's sort of like an outdoor classroom
Yeah.
area.
Right, that's what I'm saying, so those, and they're all pretty overgrown. So we're gonna need to probably get a workday and again, once through Wildcat, to get a workday back down there and get that cleaned back up, because it's gonna be a lot to initially, I think, just to get that up to par. Because those trails were not really made, they were just kind of evolved.
Yeah.
So they probably we need a little attention in what we're gonna do with.
Yeah, and I hope that the DPW, what they cleared, would give us a pretty good idea of what the trail is. Because there's really one part where there is seemingly no trail, and I assume that everyone's just sort of finding their own way through. But yeah, so the trail markers hopefully, and if I get the trail markers tonight, I can probably find some time this weekend to nail them up.
So town center is also doesn't want bicycles on that trail. On their section, so starting from behind the firehouse through to Watson Park, they don't want bicycles on that.
Okay,
So.
so should we,
So
we should put up
somewhere,
signs.
we're gonna have to put a sign up.
No bicycles beyond this.
Yeah, no bicycles beyond this point, but the problem is, even when you walk into the trail from the Watson Park side, there's a sign up there by the kiosk, says no bicycles. But then there's the whole field that can access that trail, and there's no sign until you're at the other end. Going, oh, I'm not supposed to have my bike on here. So that, we need to, I'll call Nelson or John or whoever and see if we can have them put it right down there by the fence, walking onto the parcel, because there's gonna be bicycles back there, because
Yeah.
there's tons of people that ride bikes in Wildcat.
Are people able to walk their bicycles through there? Are they
They
allowing
said, this
that?
is no bicycle, so I was not part of that conversation, I don't know what their reasoning is or what, so.
Because if we're saying that's the main entrance to
Yeah.
Wildcat, then
I would
wouldn't
bet-
people be able to at least
Yeah.
walk their bikes through?
I would bet you're right. I bet the reason why they don't allow bicycles
Is-
is because of just potentially injuring other people who aren't
Yeah.
on bicycles. So I would bet, I mean, we'd have to clarify, but I would bet that they're okay with walking bicycles.
We just need to get some clarification on, because that's gonna be a stickler.
And also, because you mentioned, the bridge is very handicap accessible. Of course,
It's a substantial,
Yeah.
if you guys haven't had a chance to walk it, it's a
I have.
concrete slab, that's a bridge.
yeah, I was surprised how, substantial I guess it was, yeah.
Yeah.
It's very like, I was expecting something more like wooden, but yeah, it's like, doesn't even feel like a bridge honestly when you're walking on it.
No, it's solid, yeah.
And Wildcat Falls, when you enter from Courier, you know, there's a good section that's pretty handicap accessible. It's not all the way to the falls. So I was just thinking that the two most handicap accessible parts are kind of on the opposite ends of each other. But I guess there's really nothing for us to really do on that. But yeah, so was there anything else that you wanted to bring up regarding the Town Center Trail? Okay, since we have it here, does anyone else have anything to bring up regarding the Town Center Trail? Okay, then with that ends new business. So then we can move on to discussion and possible action regarding other items of concern. First, submitted by Gage Perry, mowing and cutting support from the town.
So we have a number of parcels that we need to have mowed on a regular basis, and we have to rely on DPW to do it, the highway department to do it. We've got a list, but it's one of these things that it's not an easy thing to get done. So do we want to look into finding professional support and have it done? I mean, like right now, the swales, the drainage swales along Gateway Trail, the trees that are growing into them are substantial enough now that you can't mow them. You're gonna have to go in and have them cut. And these are drainage swales, and they're gonna start ripping up the road. I mean, that's a compacted road that's designed to support emergency vehicles, and now we're gonna have roots growing up through it and bubbling up through it. So we need to take those trees out of those drainage swales. Is that something where, you know?
Are you saying just a one-time hire somebody, or hire somebody that will come in, like you have somebody come in every week and mow your lawn? I don't mean every week, but.
Right, yes, I was saying at least one time now, because we need to get these things done. And we can address it with the town again, we can ask them, but, you know, there's a bunch of places. There's the fire road going into Horse Hill. There's the both wildlife openings for Greater Woods, the main trail going to Gateway Trail. There's the Spalding Foundation, which I think the last time it was cut was Peter and I with John Listoka's tractor. So, I mean, there's a lot of these places that are they're getting overgrown, and they're getting overgrown with trees now that we just can't.
Sclara's having that issue too.
Yeah, Scholars having that issue too. So, do we try to find some service, forestry type service, forester service that has equipment that can go in and mow these things? Or do we keep working through the town?
Can we do that without the town's permission?
It's our property.
Is
These people are licensed and they're insured. I mean,
And it's our money?
Yeah, it's our money. I mean, if we're gonna hire someone to go do the work on our property, I don't think there's any issue with that. I mean, we can notify the town, but I don't think it's really an issue.
It would be wise to notify the town just so that they know that
Yeah.
there are people coming onto the property and cutting it.
And get a couple quotes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, we'd have to. We'd have to.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't think of that before. Yeah, I mean, hire a company, I mean, I have no idea how much something like that would cost, but obviously we would
Yeah, I don't
go
either.
through all that process.
Because normally we go through our town forester,
Mhm.
who is,
He's deceased. The last one we had, right?
well, no, yeah, but we hired Bay State again, but Matt is left, so we now are without a town forester.
Well, we now have a new purchasing procedure that's in
Yeah.
place, and if we come up with 3 quotes and present it to finance, that may bring attention to the problem that hadn't been, some people
Yeah.
may learn about this that they hadn't known before.
Yeah, put it to the test.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you volunteering to find quotes, or should we?
I, you know, I can call them a couple foresters, I suppose, and we can see if they have something they can offer.
Okay, I'll take a look too, just to see what price ranges are and,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because
It's-
how to set
we're
them.
gonna have to walk them.
It's possible that a department could look at the quotes and go, wait a minute, we really can do it in town, and that would raise the, you know, the priority would go up. But if, to move forward, we need to get quotes from private contractors, let's do it.
Let's start with something simple.
Well,
Gateway Trail and the wildlife openings,
Yep.
probably.
We could do that.
Just because if we're getting if Eric gets a quote and you get a quote, it'd be
Yeah.
be easier to do apples to apples.
I mean, think about it, the Gateway Trail is supposed to be a 13-foot wide emergency road,
Mhm.
and it's not 13 feet wide.
Yeah, so we can start off with just making emergency roads emergency accessible, and then move on to, the bigger projects that, are more for recreational uses.
Okay.
I think I'll also contact DPW and just let them know, just so that they make sure that they don't have any problem with, private companies like, doing something like that. I mean, they shouldn't, because, yeah, it's our property, but,
I can send you the list of parcels that we've requested to have cut in the past.
okay. Next up, also submitted by Gage, is, infrastructure, inventory, and management.
So this is something we started a couple of years ago. We did it with, particularly, we started when we had people putting up products in the woods. What's the life cycle? What do we need to do to maintain them? Now, you talk about, you just on a bridge in the Wildcat that needs to be repaired. We should probably, we're building these parcels, we're building these products out there. We probably should have some type of maintenance plan that says, inspected, maintained, make sure that we have safe bridges, steps, kiosks, everything. It's gonna be a project, because each parcel is gonna, I don't know, we start with the subcoms and say, get an inventory of your property, every improvement, every bridge, everything you've done.
That's what
Yeah.
comes to mind first.
Yeah.
That's the most reasonable subdivision we have.
Yeah. Because we've got 1,600 acres in town, so it's, and we're the ones that are trying to invite people out there. We probably should make sure we're not gonna be
Yeah.
held liable for insecure, rotted, whatever.
Mhm.
So you just want to go to the subcommittees and say, can you give us?
Yeah, I think at some point in time, I'm not volunteering to do it, because I've got enough going on.
Yeah.
But we need someone to kind of, be a facility manager, so to speak,
Mhm.
of products and, what do we use for fixing this? What do we use for fixing that? Or what needs to be fixed next?
Horse Hill has a subcommittee meeting coming up on the 24th, and we can get the ball rolling with that anyway.
Yeah.
Um,
They've been great about proactive and fixing stuff, so they've been they've been
I
doing a
can't
good
say
job.
enough for the
Yeah.
volunteers we've had,
Yeah.
particularly from NEMBA.
Yeah, NEMBA does a great job. We've gotten a lot of support from them in the past, so. Okay.
Okay, and, up next is, hunting season safety reminder,
Did
submitted
you have
by.
to put you guys were supposed to ask it for products. I just gave you the list. I didn't.
What?
I supported it. I submitted them all.
I was confused, I was
no,
lost, I was writing.
We probably should ask, he would have known, the hunter would have known,
Oh.
right away. I'm just saying it's hunting season. Wear your orange blaze, put it on your dog, put it on your horse or your hat.
And every year I get a question from someone saying, hunting's allowed? And
Yeah.
yes, it is in
Yes,
Horse Hill.
hunting-
Yes, it is in Greater Woods, except for the property that is the schools. That still leaves 400 acres.
Yeah.
So, assume.
This is another issue, but it really shouldn't be called Horse Hill Nature Preserve if hunting's allowed. Actually, if we're gonna be technical,
Yeah.
people shouldn't be allowed, period, if it's a nature
Right.
preserve, but,
It's not,
Yeah,
it's a
it's-
name, it's not the
Yeah, I know.
true legal definition of a nature preserve.
Well, in Sklar Waterfront Park, and then they get park versus conservation area. Maybe we have something else to put to the next annual meeting.
Yeah.
That's, I've had that thought too. Change the name to Sklar,
Conservation area.
maybe Sklar Park and Conservation Area, or just Sklar Conservation.
Because the word park is,
Yeah.
people make different assumptions.
and then, so this was not on the agenda, it was supposed to be on the agenda, but there was a mix-up, I think there were a couple different email chains with ComDev over, making the new agenda. But Kara says ongoing education opportunities, which was meant to be an ongoing item on every agenda for the foreseeable future. So I'm just gonna add it into a discussion. We shouldn't vote on anything or fund anything because it was not on the agenda in the interest of transparency. we shouldn't vote on anything, but I still think it's okay for Karis to share what
Yep.
she has.
So a few meetings ago, we got a list, or like a memo, I guess, that pointed out our town budget, like the budget for office materials and education, and it pointed out that education was a fund of $400, but that money could be taken from other areas that we're not gonna, like, if we're not gonna use an $800 printing budget, which I assume we don't.
Only because of the generosity of, as far as the maps go, of paper graphics.
Okay, didn't think about the maps.
Yeah.
Got it, okay, so we might. But that we could look at that for education money. The Facet Farms Nursery said that they can do the lawn alternatives talk in the spring for $400, which is $100 less than the other guy whose name I don't have in front of me. But it's still up there compared to the New Hampshire Extension courses, but this is one that was specifically requested by residents. So if we want to do that, we will at some point need to talk about education budget, yearly education budget.
How strict is the budget? Like, does it have to be towards education? Can we just take something from another part of the budget? Or is that like, or are those like guidelines?
Generally, budgets are flexible as long as it stays within your overall budget.
I mean, that education budget is was originally designed for us. Like for us to go
Oh,
to.
got it.
Conservation
Like
Go get training.
NHACC.
Got
Yes.
it.
NHCC, yeah, those types of things, and we have
Right.
used it in the past for
Yep.
having talks and supporting. I mean, I bought donuts and coffee with it when we did the Beaver water level talk, and it was invited to the public, and we used that, it was an educational fund, educational meeting, we used it for that. So, it's not, I mean, it's education money. It's the only, that fund you're looking at is the only place that we take money from the town budget.
Right. It's pretty small.
And it's very small,
Yeah.
and because we've prided ourselves, remember, that we work and operate off of the LUCT funds.
Okay.
So we
So
support.
can we use those funds for education?
We can use those, there are funds, we can use them
Okay.
for whatever we feel.
Okay.
And in
But-
the past, like when we had Moosewood come do vernal pool walks, we
Yep.
paid much
Oh,
more than
okay.
$400.
Yep.
But because that is consistent, that's, doing those sorts of outreach programs is
Right.
within our
Right.
charter to do.
Right.
So we just simply used Fund 53
Okay.
to support that. I don't remember how much
Okay.
Yeah.
he was, but it was much more than that, but he would come well prepared. He
Right.
would
Yep.
spend 2-3 hours. What did we do? Vernal pool? We did
Vernal pool party.
vernal pool party.
Vernal
They-
pool party.
They all had cute names, thanks to
Yeah.
Gates.
Yeah, we've had three, right?
There's some other ones.
Yeah, we've had the vernal pool parties, we've had the animal tracks, the transit, and we did the winter walk, because we could go across the ponds. We've done, we did the beaver, we did the water level thing, those were all good. See the giveaway. It's not really educational.
Anyways,
Okay, and Karis, you're not gonna be at next meeting, is that what you told me?
correct.
Okay,
Be gone a few weeks.
So,
Can you just, you started off by talking about something in the town budget?
Oh,
400
just our town funded budget.
The
So-
Fund
There is a line
51.
item in the town budget for conservation.
It's $400?
$400 for education.
No, it's more than $400. Just within that budget, there are,
The
Specific
budget is
items.
itemized, and it's got a
Right.
couple items in it. We can get a copy of it from finance, if you don't need to write it down, Tom. You can get a
Okay,
copy, you can get a
okay.
copy of finance, it's just gonna be an itemized list of what's there.
Okay.
you were asking for the minutes, weren't you?
Yes, yes.
Not because,
Not because I'm curious.
got it.
For the lawn alternatives course, or is course the right word, talk?
Yeah.
Is that something that like has to take place like in spring, just because it's about the lawn, or is it actually,
No, it doesn't have to.
okay, I just wanna know if we were on any sort of
They-
schedule.
They just are not prepared yet.
Yeah.
He said he would have it by winter, spring written up.
Mhm. Okay, is there anything else anyone wants to?
I just want to remind the commission and the public that the photo contest for the New Hampshire Association of Conservation Commissions, the deadline is September 20th. And if you're interested in submitting photos that highlight our natural areas, go to nhacc.org and look for photo contest. And the winners will be displayed at the annual conference in November.
Eric, I had one question. Where did we leave off with our student rep?
I was wondering
Right,
about that.
yeah.
Where's our student?
I
I
haven't-
look forward to meeting her.
Yeah, I haven't gotten any contact from anyone regarding that. I assumed that she would start once school started.
It started 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, so I don't know, I haven't been put into contact with anyone. I'm not quite sure. Who should I contact? The
There
school,
is
I
an
guess?
email for her that ComDev has in the contact,
Yeah.
that has all of
She's
ours.
been
There's an
identified.
email for her
Mhm.
through the school district, so you can contact her through that.
But community development probably can help us, or Becky, we'll need to get her in front of the appointment committee, get her voted on before the town council before she can, hopefully we can do that soon, so
Oh,
she can
yeah, we
join
want
us.
to get her,
Yeah.
Mhm.
get her in here.
Okay.
Just,
Yeah, I don't know, I assume like it would, I haven't been on any email chain, so I maybe went to ComDev, I don't know, when they sent out the agenda, did it go to her? Did anyone see if?
I never knew her name until I saw something from the town council minutes, I think, saying that she'd been, the person had been identified.
obviously, somebody knows because they
yes.
put her email on the list.
Yeah. I'll contact ComDev tonight, see if they know anything.
Yeah, this is Catherine Legay,
Yeah.
and I'm looking forward to meeting her, and she's going to be our first student member.
And if you want
Student
me
rep.
to, it's education related, I can, something I know about, if you want to connect her to me, I
Yeah.
won't be at the next meeting, but I
Mhm.
can engage her and, you know,
Sure.
bring her up to-
I'll
I don't know, debrief her.
yeah, once ComDev puts me in contact with her, I'll send her your email.
Okay.
Yeah. What was that deadline date?
September 20th.
20th?
I got one quick thing too. So Beaver Solutions has been in town. They've installed the water leveler behind, in Powell Brook. And it's already great back there now. The water's much, much lower. That whole area is a huge sponge and it's slowly now been draining out. It's great. So that's gonna be a good ad. Hopefully it's gonna be able to stay that way and they're not gonna have to find some other place to dam up, but. And I believe that they were gonna be back either today or tomorrow, to take care of the Natticook water leveler. I've asked them to look at putting in 2 pipes, not changing one that's there, but just adding a second one. Because in talking with DPW and talking with Lori at the Highway Department, she's saying that they've been over there maintaining it. And I think they've been maintaining the wrong end of it. Because they're taking on the drain side, which they shouldn't be. They should just be taking on the intake side.
Mm.
Because the drain side is just running, so. But they're saying they've had some large swings in water level, which means that the leveler's not working. So, I've asked them to try to put in, look at putting the second pipe over there and seeing what they can do to make sure that that's gonna continue to flow enough to keep that water level, fairly consistent.
The leveler, is that relevant to the map that was provided in the packet?
Yeah, I thought there was something on the agenda for it, and I didn't see
Yeah.
it. But then I saw that in the packet, but that's the one in Powell Brook.
Mhm.
And that's kind of the general area that they went in. They went in through, we met with a neighbor on the other side of Madison, and he allowed us access through his backyard to go in there and do the work from in there, because trying to get to that location from my yard is wet and difficult. And Ray was nice enough to let him walk through his backyard, and we could pretty much skirt everyone's property and get onto our little chunk of land out there and access it from
Is that TOM 10?
town of Merrimack, yeah. That's kind of a general location of where it is. It's not, maybe not exact, but that's an interesting little piece of land we own out there. It's completely landlocked, unfortunately. You can't get to it. But it is, we own also, that's the access to Mitchell Woods is right over it, on the, just beyond it.
Okay,
Sometimes it's good to have land that has no access.
Well, it's too bad, because it's an interesting spot, and if you go out there like this time of year, I go out my back door and go walk in the swamp, and there's a lot of birds, it's a really neat area, and it's bordered by Mitchell Woods, and that's where this, that's probably where part of our town land is right there, so you can't get to that spit unless you walk through the swamp.
Yeah, it's actually on one of my maps.
Yeah.
Okay. So that closes other items of concern, which moves us on to approval of the minutes for the August 12th, 2024 meeting. The minutes aren't, okay, I think, I must have accidentally left the minutes over on that table. Let me just, give me a second. Do we have a motion to accept the minutes as amended? Or do I make that?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as amended.
I'll second.
I have a couple. Page 2, line 50. The first word, this should be range, not rang. Page 2, line 58, I believe it says the proposed designed, I think it should be design. And lines 75 and 76, I may be wrong on this, but I think the word containments should be contaminants. And I think there's one more. On page 5, I'm going too fast.
Nope.
On page 5, line 197, Chairman Perkins, Commissioner Perkins noted this should be probably placed on a future agenda. I think you want to delete the first "on." That's all I have.
Go ahead.
So I was not here, so I'm not gonna vote, but are these truly what, I'm looking at page 5, line 206, that whole Counselor Jobin advised counsel, blah, blah, blah. There's no such thing as a Fisher cat.
Yeah.
Did we really say Fisher cats?
Yeah. But
Okay.
but it's Fisher, is that correct?
It's a Fisher, yeah. They're a marsupial, they're not a feline.
Well, it's a New Hampshire tradition to call them
Yes,
Fisher cats.
I know.
We have a baseball team, so it's legal.
Yeah, we have a baseball team that doesn't know that they have,
We
they
can
they
amend
can't exist.
Part of it?
We can amend the
Yes,
minutes.
scientifically
Fisher
speaking, yes, there is
Oh,
no
okay.
such thing called a Fisher
cat.
cat.
It's a Fisher.
This
They're just
is,
fishers.
okay, but koala bears are not bears.
Yeah,
Yes, the
it's the
koalas.
same.
I don't think
They're
they
not in
call
our
them
minutes.
koala- I
But
think
they are
there is
called
their
koala
official
bears.
term.
Yes, I know, but people, I don't call them koalas.
The term does not need to define,
I did not.
silverfish are not fish.
Yeah, they're not a feline.
They're weasels, I believe.
Yeah, it's right, they're a weasel.
Yeah, related to wolverines, I believe, are their closest relatives. Okay, so a motion to accept, or not motion, vote. Yeah. Vote to, all in favor of approving the minutes as amended? All opposed and all abstaining?
I'm gonna abstain.
Okay, so that'd be 5-2, 5-0 to 2.
5
1,
to
2,
3,
3,
because
4,
you're
5.
abstaining, right?
Yeah, 5.
'Cause you weren't at that one.
4 to 3? Did 3 of us abstain?
Oh, did you abstain too?
I abstained.
Oh, I'm sorry, okay.
So it's
We
4
can,
to 3.
we can
4 to 0.
vote.
I wasn't there.
Yeah, it-
Well, you can vote in the minutes,
No, I wasn't there. I
I wasn't here, so I'm not
Okay.
gonna.
so they pass.
4 of 3, they passed.
Okay, so it's 8:16 PM. I move to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All in favor? All opposed? All abstaining? None. Okay. So this meeting is adjourned at 8:16 PM.